Hi, you're on the Alice Reddit Stories channel. Subscribe to my channel as well as to my Facebook, the link is in the description. Enjoy watching. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm posting because I feel absolutely horrible about this, and not only did I betray my serious long-term boyfriend, but I went against anything I ever stood for, and I don't know how to live with myself or move on from this. We have been dating for 5 years and living together for the last 2 years. Last night, as it was Halloween, we decided to go out. We met up with mostly, my friends, even though I felt like I was intruding their hangout. I've not been feeling good about our friendship, as I always have to ask and invite myself along when they already have plans. But I thought we could still go and have a few drinks together with them, since I am primarily going out with my BF anyway. So we went, drank a bit before entering the club. My boyfriend didn't like the vibe of the club and insisted on leaving despite me saying he's my shoulder to lean on and I want this to be our night. However, I appreciated that he said he would prefer to hang out outside alone and meet new people, and I should stay in the club that I liked with my friends. So we did that and arranged I will call him when I'm ready to leave. Inside the club, I started chatting to a random girl, I'll call her Kay, and she was so friendly and keen to hang out with me. My friends were mostly sticking to themselves, and like I said before, I felt like an intruder in their group, so I was happy to hang out with Kay and her people. Soon enough, it was just me and Kay dancing and walking up to the bar and drinking. Looking back at the timeline, it was about 2 hours of us dancing, chatting and drinking together, and I thought she was really cool. However, I not once saw our interactions as sexual, and I told her about my BF being outside. At one point we were dancing, both drunk at that point. She leans in towards me and says, "Wouldn't I rather have a girlfriend," then goes for a kiss. She started at my cheek and went to my mouth and we made out. As it was happening, I'm thinking this is so wrong and I didn't want it. I should mention that before this, I only ever kissed 2 people, both I knew very well before and adored them and wanted to kiss them. I also never had an interest in hookups, random kissing in clubs, and all that. I have to say though that lately I have been coming to terms that I am also attracted to women. However, I wasn't attracted to Kay in a sexual way. I was drunk and admittedly, I didn't stop her right away. When I finally decided to say it's enough, I told her I need to go to the toilet. She said she'll come with me. After going to the toilet pretending to pee, I told her I will head out to find my BF as I feel so guilty and I wanted to get away from there. She said to find her if I come back in, which I wasn't intending to. I said okay, and then stormed out. As soon as I came outside and found my BF, I told him. I told him how disgusting I felt, how I didn't want it, and how I felt like I can't push her off, because we've established this friendly relationship and I was too scared to be impolite. I fucking hate how much of a PSSY I was about that, and how I felt the need to remain polite to her and got myself into this unnecessary position. My BF wasn't happy, but he said he accepted that what's done's done and will work from there on. I know nothing will be the same again. I've been crying the whole day about it and I know he can't look at me the same. I betrayed his trust for something that didn't even feel good to me, and I never wanted it. He has said we are too different and doesn't know if we should stay together. It sucks so bad because kissing Kay goes against my ideas about relationships, which are that I'm not into meaningless shallow stuff. I feel like such a hypocrite, I feel disgusting and can't look at myself in the mirror. As stupid as it sounds, apart from very obviously hurting my boyfriend, which will probably lead to me losing him, which is the thing I fear the most and what I don't want to happen at all, but I made it happen, there is also a repeating thought at my head about how I will have to live with being a disgusting person and having one meaningless hurtful kiss on my kiss list. How do I move on from this? Don't forget to support my channel by subscribing, thank you. Is the relationship with my boyfriend salvageable, even though I believe I will just have to accept the consequences of my actions? How do I live with myself after this and the consequences? I tried to be as clear as I could in this. If there's any more situational questions, I'm willing to answer them. TLDR, I went to a club, met a girl, formed a friendship, which led to us making out. I know I didn't want it and tried to get away ASAP, told my BF, and now he says we are too different to be together. I feel disgusting and am having a really hard time living with myself and accepting my relationship will never be the same. I'm going to be as transparent as possible here because I'm not too sure who is wrong in this situation, if either of us are. I moved to a new state at the beginning of the year to chase higher career goals. My partner ended up moving across the country with me in hopes of finding his place in society. Originally, I planned to move by myself, in which I was honest and open about how I felt our relationship had been falling apart for a long time now. We lived together for a year and a half before this decision. I wanted to move by myself and break up as we were having a very hard time being on the same page about many general things. When the cards aligned and I found a great opportunity to leave thanks to work and relocation to go from a job paying $25,000 to one paying $65,000. Partner was happy for me but did not want to move away because he finally started to rekindle his relationship with his abusive mother. I completely understood and reminded him that I did not want to pass up such an opportunity. At this time he was fired from being a corrections officer. I thought that was a great moment for him to not feel like he has many strings attached to staying. I could have been insensitive in saying this. It sounded that he only didn't want to leave because of his mother. During this entire time, he wasn't a part of the process when it came to moving, finding apartments, or anything. When my U-Haul pod showed up, he threw his stuff in and was ready to go. He only packed his stuff and made enough room to fit his. I've been resentful of our relationship since we started living together during the pandemic. When we lived together, it was my job to take over all the chores and clean the house. He was a corrections officer working double shifts, and I can understand that it's hard and often told myself it was okay to technically be the housewife right now. I still worked as much as I could with 2 jobs, and always had my rent payment available. Since I made less than him, I paid less. While he paid $845 monthly, I paid $425. Everything else was split evenly, besides chores and my separate bills. Things started going downhill a few months after we lived where we previously were, but we tried working through it as much as possible. It was due to a lot of things. He always had money to eat out and buy all the video games and clothes he wanted and didn't really save up much. I'd ask him to throw his clothes in the hamper on the 3rd floor instead of the 1st floor, and it blew up on me. I was going incredibly resentful because our sex life went from 3 times a week to once every few months. He said it was my fault and that I wasn't sexy enough and didn't initiate how he wanted. He told me to watch porn to learn how those girls do it. So I did, and a few months later, he admits it was his fault all along. He feels the need to take care of his female friends' needs before mine. I will never forget the time he left me hanging, all alone in a crowded bar the entire night, to make sure this new girl he worked with got to know everybody and feel welcomed. I ended up crying at home because I was by myself the entire night, and I didn't know much of the people besides the bartender. Fast forward to now. Now I make more than what he made at his previous job. He made roughly $46,000 without all the overtime he did, and I definitely make more than what I did before. Unfortunately in California, this doesn't last as long as it could, but I make do living almost paycheck to paycheck as our rent is now $2,350 without electricity. Don't forget to support my channel by subscribing, thank you. I've calculated and can afford to live by myself with $400 extra a month if I didn't have to spend as much as I did on the bills he doesn't contribute to but adds on to. Partner only pays $425 because in the entire year we've been here, he hasn't worked hard enough, in my opinion, to find a job that can offer him a good pay. Right now, he's a personal trainer making less than $20,000 a year. He says he wants to get into coding but doesn't want to pay for the boot camp or go to school. He doesn't try to find new clients because he says it's his manager's job. I don't fully understand it too well, but I know it's not really the most lucrative business as retention rate is rather low and many people don't end up making much unless they branch out. All his coworkers have 2 jobs. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and he finally admitted to me that he spends a good amount of money going to Whole Foods and getting lunch at restaurants with his coworkers every day. I offered he meal prep and he said he hates it. I work from home so I didn't need a car, but I used my savings to buy a car so that he could work because he said he would never take public transit. I spend $400 plus on groceries a month somehow when by myself I've been doing just fine on $100 for the month. I pay for half of a month of gas on a car I don't use much, and I split as much as I can to make his life easier. For most of this year, up until October, I was the one doing all the chores minus laundry and throwing out the garbage. He was doing those too while still going to work. He makes no more than $800 bi-weekly pre-tax, and somehow spends 40 hours at work hanging out with his coworkers. I feel like he should be trying to get into coding as he said he would like to. He only realistically works like 3 to 4 hours a day. He says he'll come home at a certain time and then comes home 2 hours later. He's blamed traffic before, and I just don't believe it. I used to drive that road at peak times every day and never hit 2-hour traffic. Honestly, I'm so tired and resentful. I'm having a hard time wanting to end the relationship because I feel bad that he will have to move all the way over to the East Coast again, but I'm so drained. I feel like a caretaker more than a partner. I feel like I filled the void that his mother left him with. And now she gets the privilege of enjoying him without the responsibility of being there for him. I could go into a lot of detail, but I feel like this is getting rather long. I wish I could ask for a break, but he doesn't allow that. I'm not sure what I need to hear to end this, or if I'm being a super horrible and shallow person in any way. We just got off the phone again due to another huge argument about how he was hiding the messages of girls that he was casually friends with at work, and I told him that it made no sense to me considering I was always super nice to his coworkers and never rash about it all. I told him how I lose trust every time he tries to hide the fact that he has a female friend, and this escalated to him calling himself a loser, saying he makes no money and can't do anything at all because he has no skills and isn't like me. So he's going to keep hanging out with her and his other coworkers and come home and lock himself in the room to play video games like he does every day because he doesn't want to come home anyways. I just don't get why this had to escalate more than it did and why he always says he has no skills but doesn't try to do better. I'm all over the place currently, so I'm very sorry if this whole post doesn't make the most sense. Don't forget to support my channel by subscribing. Thank you. English is not my first language. I just want to put it out there because I see how you people are brutal when grammar is bad. I'm a beautician, F35, married to an engineer, M34. He is very intelligent and I'm always proud of him. He has a colleague who is also very intelligent, F31, obviously, that he is close to. Before the events that lead me to this moment of seeking help online, I never had any reason to be uncomfortable about his relationship with her. I always felt secure in our relationship. We're both independent people who would just leave if we weren't happy together. We'd been together for 5 years, married for 5. My husband and I were on a 3-day trip with my husband's colleagues. A tradition at his work every autumn. We came home yesterday morning. I had a bad taste in my mouth after this trip. It felt like me and the colleague's partner, M35-ish, were the third and fourth wheel to my husband and his colleague during the entire trip. During dinner, the second night, I was sitting silently playing with my food after almost 2 days of being ignored. The partner was also silent at first, but we started talking a bit, asking each other generic questions. The colleague, who was in a very loud argument with my husband, more of a back and forth teasing, suddenly turned around and asked what we two, partner and me, were up to talking quietly. Her partner said that we're just getting to know each other since they, husband and colleague, were too busy talking about things we knew nothing about. The colleague laughed and said, "What could we discuss with you?" "Makeup and Kim Kardashian," and she nodded towards me. "We have more intelligent things to discuss." I was dumbfounded. I guess because I'm a beautician I can only discuss Kim Kardashian? I mean, any outsider to any profession would be dumb listening into two people discussing work-related subjects. They could have been as ignorant if I was talking to my co-workers about our job. My husband just laughed and the partner said, "That's rude." I said nothing because I had distaste for the whole situation. On the last day of the trip I spent most of my time with the partner. I ignored the other two. Yesterday evening the partner DM'd me and wanted to talk about our SOs. He said that he has been feeling uncomfortable about his GF's relationship with my husband and that he went through her messages. He sent me screens where my husband and his colleague are basically calling me stupid and shallow and laugh about it. Well, mostly the colleague saying mean things and my husband laughing and adding in. Sometimes he would say something like, "No, I love her," about me, and she would answer, "You only like bangin' hot dumb chicks," and they laugh. When the texts aren't about my stupidity, they're about work, and in one of them my husband wrote, "I love your brain," to her. I started crying when I saw the screenshots. Never have I ever felt so self-conscious about my brains or profession. I love my job and I thought my husband loved it too, or at least didn't have this disdain for it. I've been my own boss for over 10 years and I make closer to 6 figures. I never thought myself as a dumb person. I like to think that I'm fairly well informed and I have passion for history, languages, cultures, etc. But yes, I'm not an engineer working on some design for artificial hearts. Still, the texts complimenting the colleague hurt me more than the ones making fun of me. I don't know why. I think my husband and his colleague are out of line at best and, well, probably screwing. I still don't know what to do. The last thing I want to be is the insecure wife. If he isn't happy with me, why is he here? P.S. I wrote this post last night and fell asleep afterwards. This morning I just went to work. OMG guys. Thank you so much for the support and the beautiful words. I will try to read all your comments and messages. I just wanted to make this edit to explain why I haven't answered any of you. I'm sorry and thank you. I will talk to my husband tonight or maybe tomorrow. I will make an update about my situation. Don't forget to support my channel by subscribing. Thank you. I have talked to my husband. I just told him that I have talked to work wife's BF and showed him the messages I was sent. My husband asked my why her BF was spying on his GF and I told him that it was because he did like the way things went down on the trip. I told him how I too was very uncomfortable. He was very confused and told me that work wife obviously was jealous and that I shouldn't care about her. I told him that she didn't bother as much as the fact that he was fine, no, amused by her attempts to bring me down the entire time. So much in fact that her BF was so uncomfortable that he went through her phone. I also asked him why he was letting her trash talking me in their texts. Again, he insisted that he just felt that she was petty and jealous and did want to stoop to her level. He said that I did the same when I ignored her rudeness and he thought that was the classy thing to do. I asked him why she was doing this. Was there anything between them and to please tell me now, before it got more complicated? He said of course not, and if there was something from her end then that wasn't his problem because he loved me and so on and so forth. I asked him about him loving her brain and he said it was strictly about something work related and offered to show me the conversation. Next day I was still brooding, so he came to me, kissed me, and apologized and told me that I was right and that he was being stupid but that he never thought about it as disrespect but some female jealousy that he thought was pitiful and beneath him. He promised to do better. I told him that if somebody was trashing you like this in front of me, no matter how petty their reasons were or how pathetic I thought they were, I would have hated them and never wanted them in my life. Unfortunately, I started crying then and he told me that he was so sorry. That was on Sunday. Yesterday, the BF called me again and we talked. We had decided to talk after confronting our SOs. Their conversation was worse and workwife admitted to her BF that she had feeling for my husband and she suspected that my husband had feelings for her too. They have kissed at the summer work party. I showed my husband the screenshot when he got home. He started to freak out telling me that yes, she did kiss him and he rebuffed her and told her that he wasn't interested. That was when she got nastier towards me. So you knew she had a thing for you? And he said yes. I asked him to show me his phone and he had deleted his conversation with her. He said it was because he was embarrassed. He didn't tell me when the kiss happened and now he was afraid I would think it was more than what it was. I asked him to move out and he is currently at his mother's. He keeps saying that there's nothing between them. That he loves me and would never cheat on me. That he will make her come clean to me. That he will quit his job and never see her again. I'm just so brokenhearted right now, and all I want is to cry. Thank you for listening. I needed this. My husband showed up at my work today. He said that he has never felt so scared in his life, like when he realized that he was losing me. He has contacted the BF, apologized to him and asked him to forward all the texts between him and work wife. He printed them and gave me everything. Over a year's worth of texting. He told me when work wife confessed to her BF. She sent the text about admitting the kiss to her BF, the text I got a screenshot of. My husband panicked and deleted the whole conversation. But now he got everything from the BF and I could read it. He also had brought a picture with him. Of him when he was young, 12-13-ish, with a girl. He said he searched this picture, now he's living with his mom. He told me that it was his favorite cousin and that she committed suicide when they were 16. She was bullied severely. I never heard my husband talk about this cousin. I know of her from his family, but never that they were close or that her death devastated him. He said that he still wasn't ready to discuss her, but that now he needed to. He admitted that when work wife started working for them August 2021, he immediately bonded with her because she reminded him of his cousin. Both goofy, funny, and extremely intelligent. They even looked alike a little, kind of true. The bond got stronger when work wife told him about her tough childhood and how she was bullied throughout school. How she suffered and contemplated suicide. My husband said that he felt like he got his cousin back. Work wife knew that my husband was married, newlywed actually, and it didn't seem to be a problem for her in the beginning. He admitted that he sensed that she was falling for him very soon, but that he never really confronted her about it because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. When she saw me in a picture, she got very angry with him and said that she was very disappointed in him. I looked the type that would bully people like her and my husband in high school. She was disappointed and asked him what he saw in me. He told her that he loved me, but she was sour afterwards, accusing him of being shallow. He asked her to give me a chance at the Christmas party. She didn't change her opinion, however. He wasn't bothered that she disliked me because he thought that she was jealous. He knew that she was decided on not giving me a chance, and that was fine with him. He thought that this will be one of the things they will have to disagree on. He is still adamant that he never kissed her back, and he is adamant about getting the recording of that party. He said he pushed her, and after the party, he had a fight with her about boundaries and confronted her about her feelings. He told her that they could no longer be friends now that she had crossed the line. We went on a 5W vacation the day after that party, and he said that if I read the texts from that time I would find that she had apologized several times, asking for forgiveness, begging him not to ditch her as a friend. After summer their relationship was strained, but they eventually became closer again. He said he doesn't know why he felt like she needed him in her life, like she needed his protection. He always thought about being put in harm's way, and he couldn't stand the thought. He swore it was never romantic or sexual. He admitted that he loved her like a friend or like if his cousin was still around. He told me that he has handed in his resignation and will be seeking new jobs. He's realized that he has to let work wife go. He admitted that he even now is worried about her. She is losing both her BF and him, but that he needs to remind himself that she is a grown-up woman and not his 16-year-old cousin. She'll be fine. And about my fears that he loves me for how I look, he said that he is sorry if he ever made me feel that way and that it is far from the truth. When he thinks about us, he sees us growing old together, and that prospect fills his heart with more love and joy. Don't forget to support my channel by subscribing. Thank you.